Since it's spooky season, we got a horror movie for you. It's about a man who has 3 wives and has been trifling the entire time. The scariest part of all, it's a true story based on Frankie Lyman, who is very much a lion man. In Lamberton Prison, Pennsylvania, in 1985, petty thief Elizabeth Waters Lyman speaks with attorney Peter Markowitz about the royalties she believes she should receive. The song "Why Do Fools Fall in Love," which was written by her late husband, Frankie Lyman, has been used in a film and a commercial, and it has reached gold status once again, thanks to singer Diana Ross since his passing. She tells him that Frankie's label is Roulette Records and to talk to Morris Levy. When Elizabeth goes to Roulette Records in New York to get her check, she finds Peter with Levy, who introduces her to LA lawyer Lawrence Roberts, who is representing Frankie's singer wife, Zola Taylor, who's also disputing the royalties.
He dropped you like a whore's panties.
Why, you bald-headed?
When Levy asks who was married to Frankie when he died, Peter shows him Frankie and Elizabeth's marriage license, which states they got married in '64. Zola and Lawrence show proof that Elizabeth was married to a different man in '59 and wasn't divorced until '65. Zola then says that she married Frankie in '65 in Mexicali, Mexico. Surprisingly, both have the same deal with the royalties. A school teacher named Amira Eagle Lyman interrupts, saying it's the same deal Levy tried to cut with her, and introduces herself as Mrs. Lyman, the third wife. Amira's lawyer, Ezra, tells Levy that they're suing him for the royalties he illegally collected when he put his name in Frankie's songs. Amira tells them that she and Frankie married in '67 in Augusta, Georgia, that they were still married when he died, and that she paid for his funeral, where she didn't see any of them. Amira tells Elizabeth,
I teach high school English, a class you obviously skipped.
all 3 women claim to be Mrs. Frankie Lyman. In April 1986, the proceeding for Frankie's estate begins and is presided over by Judge Lambrey. First to the stand is a man named Richard Barrett, who managed and produced Frankie in '55. Teenage Frankie and his friends sang an original song outside of Barrett's window and asked him to give them a record deal. On their audition day, their lead singer was missing, so the group sang their original song, "Why Do Fools Fall in Love," with Frankie leading the vocals and Levy signed them as the Teenagers. Barrett says their record went gold and Frankie was a hit, especially among women. He adds that Frankie and Zola's marriage was public knowledge. Next to the stand is Richard Penniman, a singer professionally known as Little Richard, the gay man that would sometimes deny his gayness.
Morris didn't even use no Vaseline. Shut up!
Girl, that closet was made of glass. Richard recalls that he, Zola's group, the Platters, and the Teenagers used to tour together with the Alan Freed Show in 1956, during which Frankie boldly showed interest in Zola, who slapped him. One time, while performing on live TV, a white fan ran to the stage to dance with Frankie, who went along with it. It caused a scandal since white men felt threatened by black men having swag, and it got the show canceled, but it established Frankie as the man. While on tour, the bus driver tells them to not piss off the white folks.
In other words, be incognito, yo.
After witnessing Frankie giving money to a man outside a diner, Zola befriended Frankie and learned that he did it because the man reminded him of his father, who influenced him and made him fall in love with music at a young age. Unfortunately, he became drunk and abusive and left them. Halle Berry and Lorenz Tate are foine. Upon learning that the label was pushing for Frankie's Beyoncé era, Herman and the other members confronted Frankie for betraying them. Frankie argued that it wasn't his decision, but he felt guilty because he did know about the label's plan 2 months prior. Zola comforted Frankie, telling him that people come to see him and hear him sing, to which he shared that he feels alive and free when performing. After breaking each other's backs that night, they became inseparable. Next to the stand is Elizabeth, who says she first met Frankie in 1961. She shares that after splitting with her first husband, she left their baby Yolanda with her mom in Philadelphia and came to New York to look for a job. However, she was out trying to steal a bunch of expensive stuff, so Frankie saves her before getting apprehended for shoplifting. He invited her to watch his show that night. During the show, she realizes he is the famous Frankie Lyman. He brings her to the stage to dance with him, opened his button-up shirt, and kissed her. After the show, Frankie brought Elizabeth to his apartment. She was shocked to see that a singer's apartment was messy and unglamorous, but she brushed it off. Elizabeth saw the Platters poster and asked if he and Zola were dating, and Frankie told her that they're old news. While kissing, Elizabeth noticed the needle marks on his arm, and they do the nasty. Girl is risking AIDS to grab dat bag. Frankie and Elizabeth soon moved in together. Although Frankie was a broke junkie, She rooted for him to overcome his addiction and resume his career. In 1961, Frankie's career was going down, but he gave her a mink jacket and promised to give her everything, which he did. She was the happiest she had ever been until reality hit. Frankie's addiction forced Elizabeth to find creative ways to hide cash so he won't spend everything on drugs. When he sees Zola being successful, he gets triggered. Later, Frankie's dealer, to whom he owed money, beats Frankie and pulls a knife on him, so Elizabeth gives him their rent money and her mink jacket to save him. After getting evicted because they couldn't pay rent, they move in with Elizabeth's mom. They lived in Philadelphia for 2 years, during which Frankie struggled to stop his addiction and was hardly working, so he hardly had any money. Yet Elizabeth still believed in him and married him when they were in Virginia for a gig. Doing all this for a dusty man is crazy, let alone a Cracker Barrel. When questioned on why she lied and claimed to be single on her application when she was still married to Charles, Elizabeth explains that she didn't lie intentionally because her lawyer told her that she was already free to marry again. After Frankie collapses during a performance, Elizabeth checked him into a hospital, which was expensive. Desperate to save him, Elizabeth turned to prehistoric OnlyFans, but she was soon apprehended by a cop posing as a customer. When she got home, she found an eviction notice on their door. She was then shocked to see Frankie drunk on the floor. Frankie told Elizabeth to move back with her mom because Zola has gigs for him in LA. A confrontation led to Frankie dropping Elizabeth's dog out of the window, prompting the hysterical Elizabeth to kick him out. Throwing a dog out the window is diabolical. No dick can be that good. Elizabeth saw Frankie again in 1965 in LA. Frankie wrote to her that things weren't working out and begged her to come, even if he was staying at Zola's house, and he didn't mention being married to Zola. Zola was furious to find Elizabeth in her clothes with Frankie in her pool, leading to a confrontation. Zola pushed Frankie into the pool and chased Elizabeth. Fighting for this loser is absolutely desperate behavior. The next day, Zola takes the stand and shares that she and Frankie were on and off for 10 years. In 1962, she went on a European tour with the Platters, and Frankie's playdates started to dwindle, during which she believes is when Frankie started using heroin. He tried to find the high feeling he used to get from performing, but Frankie's solo career wasn't as successful as Beyoncé's. Later, Zola suspected that Frankie stole her mink jacket, but he denied it, and we already know it eventually turned into heroin. In New York, she informed him that she got married while on her last tour and will be moving to LA for good. After a tearful goodbye, she didn't see him for 3 years. In spring 1965, Frankie called Zola to ask if he could come to LA and if she could help him with gigs because his career had completely tanked. She agreed to help the dusty man. She took him to her lavish home and told him he could stay in the guest bedroom until he's back on his feet. Zola had divorced her husband and is single again. The judge asked for their divorce decree. Zola says that all their papers got destroyed. The judge is so over her. When Zola tells the court that she and Frankie got married in Tijuana, Mexico shortly after Frankie did the Hullabaloo show, Peter points out that she first said they got married in Mexicali, Mexico. But Zola insists that they got married in a Mexican town, just doesn't know which, prompting Peter to pull out certifications that don't show they ever got married in either town. Zola narrates how the confrontation with Elizabeth went down. She was furious to find Elizabeth in her clothes with a random man in her house. When Zola called Frankie her husband, Elizabeth claimed he was hers. Frankie emerged and scolded Elizabeth for bringing someone there, leading to a confrontation. Then Elizabeth pushes Zola into the pool. Frankie later explained to Zola that Elizabeth had broken in and claimed they were married to upset her. After all his lies and red flags, Zola is just delulu at this point. Before going on a 4-month tour in Asia, Zola gave Frankie the account where he can take money to pay for the house's mortgage and bills and wrote him instructions on how to take care of everything. To her horror, after hearing that Frankie brought a woman into her home whom she believed to be Elizabeth, Zola discovered that Frankie, who was nowhere to be found, emptied her bank account and never used the money to pay her bills, resulting in her house's foreclosure. Losing your home because you got dickmatized by a cracker is wild work. Left with nothing, Zola moved in with her sister. She soon heard that Frankie was drafted into the U.S. Army in lieu of a jail sentence. In the court restroom, Elizabeth tells the weeping Zola that she never went back to her house. Amira takes the stand and shares that she met Frankie in Georgia, 1967, when her sister's military fiancé brought him home. Frankie courted her as a perfect gentleman, never cursing around her or making a pass at her. One day, Frankie reads Amira a poem he wrote for her, and she too got digmatized. The next day they got engaged, and about a month later, they got married. One day, military men fetched Frankie from their house because he had been AWOL for 4 months, and he got dishonorably discharged. When Graham asks how long she has been married to Frankie, Amira says she's still married to him. During lunch recess, Elizabeth makes a deal with Zola, proposing to split 50-50 if either of them wins. When Peter learns about this, he reprimands Elizabeth. When Peter asks Amira about the last time she saw Frankie, she recounts that around Christmas, a postman delivering a package to their house was so happy after recognizing Frankie and said that he thought he was dead. This made Frankie want to try music again and left Amira to do exactly that. He promised Amira he'd return and expressed that he wanted to start a family with her. About a week later, Frankie's brother called to tell her that Frankie had overdosed. After the session, Elizabeth, Zola, and Amira get together and express their disbelief at what Levy had done. The women talk about Frankie.
He could have sang me right out of my panties.
Elizabeth and Zola then share with Amira their plan of sharing the money, and she joins the deal. The next day, Lambry tells the court that Elizabeth's common law marriage is valid, and Elizabeth continued to live with Frankie after her divorce from Charles. So the court awards the estate to Elizabeth. Elizabeth celebrates and refuses to give Zola and Amira their shares. While Zola just lets it go because she's tired of everything, Amira files suit in the U.S. Court of Appeals. Amira wins, but after all the legal fees, she's only left with 15 grand. Honestly, I thought Zola deserved it the most because of what Frankie's trifling Oz did to her mansion. I would have crashed out and been convicted of murder. What did you guys think of this one? A truly horror film.
Hey, if you like this video, make sure you subscribe now and turn on the notification because YouTube isn't recommending my videos. And if you like to watch more foolishness, click here or here.